1. Jon Moxley's current title reign and the Death Rider storyline has done nothing to elevate any talent involved and has actively tainted the legacy of the AEW World Championship. 2. Tony Khan's behavior on Twitter is embarrassingly unprofessional and makes him come off as a petulant teenager. 3. AEW has an absurd number of titles that completely dilutes the appeal of holding a championship in the first place. 4. Signing Adam Copeland has accomplished virtually nothing for AEW in terms of increasing ratings or selling more tickets. 5. Changing Adam Copeland's name to Cope. 6. Tony Khan being too nice and wanting to be one of the boys rather than a leader. 7. Pay-per-views are ridiculously overbooked with 8 to 10 matches crammed in. 8. Pay-per-views have atrocious pacing where matches are stacked back-to-back with no breathing room between them. 9. Too many dream matches without proper build. 10th. Ratings and ticket sales have been spiraling downward ever since CM Punk's departure from the company. 11. The brawl-out footage being aired on Dynamite. 12th. Aubrey Edwards seeking attention rather than being a normal ref. 13. The AEW fans have developed a disturbing cult-like mentality where any criticism is treated as an attack rather than an opportunity to improve. 14. Chris Jericho. 15. Jon Moxley bleeds so frequently that it's become a meme. 16. Too many factions. 17. Overuse of gimmick matches killing their novelty. 18. Losing Stephanie Vaquer to the WWE. 19. Failing to sign Julia. 20. Failing to sign Motor City Machine Guns. 21st. Overhyped huge announcements that underwhelm. 22. The booking in AEW has devolved from the company that gave us the masterful Hangman Page story to one that can barely maintain storyline continuity from week to week. 23. The women's division is treated as an obligatory checkbox rather than a valuable part of the product. Though the company has recently had some good storylines with the likes of Toni Storm, Mariah May, Chris Statlander, and Willow in the mix, the women are typically given minimal time to tell stories or develop characters. 24. The treatment of female wrestlers like Anna Jay, Queen Aminata, Mina Shirakawa involves brief pushes followed by total disappearance for months at a time. 25. Tony Khan's inability to control backstage fights and drama has made AEW's backstage environment more chaotic than a high school cafeteria. 26. Tony Khan's inability to reject bad ideas from wrestlers with political power has led to embarrassing segments that damage the product. 27th. Tony Khan surrounds himself with yes men and wrestlers past their creative prime instead of listening to those with fresh perspectives. 28th. Chris Jericho. 29. The programming is littered with cringeworthy rah-rah speeches where wrestlers praise the company instead of advancing their own characters. 30. Tony Khan is notorious for signing literally anyone who becomes available without any plan for how to use them. 31. There's virtually no build-up for debuting talent. 32nd. Tony Khan signs too many ex-WWE talents without clear plans. 33. Taking shots at the WWE for cheap pops instead of focusing on improving their own product. 34. Tony Khan has completely destroyed the excitement of surprise appearances by normalizing them to the point of irrelevance. 35. The company hands out title shots with absolutely no regard for win-loss records or logical progression. 36. The company suffers from a fundamental identity crisis, with no clear vision of what kind of wrestling company it wants to be. One week you get sports-based wrestling on Collision, the next you're getting sports entertainment nonsense on Dynamite, creating a schizophrenic product that fails to satisfy any audience completely. 37. Chris Jericho. 38. The backstage segments look embarrassingly low budget with poor lighting and amateurish set design. 39. The backstage segments feature such atrocious audio quality that you can barely make out what wrestlers are saying. 40. Poor acting in backstage segments. 41st. Emptier venues and declining attendance. 42nd. Declining TV ratings since 2023. 43rd. Quieter crowds compared to 2019 to 2021. 44th. The Battle of the Belt specials have been complete flops that tank in the ratings and rarely feature meaningful title changes. 45. Many AEW storylines frequently disappear without resolution or explanation. 46. Booking Kenny Omega vs. MJF on 3 days' notice on free TV instead of a pay-per-view. 47th. Focus on star ratings over long-term storytelling. 48. The company has mastered the art of fast food wrestling. Matches designed to give an immediate dopamine rush of big spots, which you'll forget 2 days later. 49th. Chris Jericho. 50. No proper performance center. 51st. Failing to match the production quality and star power in the WWE under Triple H. 52nd. Letting go of Cody Rhodes. 53. The roster is so absurdly bloated with top singles stars that it's impossible to properly feature them all in meaningful ways and guarantees most of them will be wasted in directionless mid-card programs or sitting at home. 54. From the Elite versus AEW Originals to the Frontline versus Death Riders, the promotion has become obsessed with meta-narratives about itself instead of creating engaging stories between individual stars. 55th Jericho. 56. Backstage areas look like empty warehouses with a curtain haphazardly thrown up. 57. Chris Jericho. 58. When AEW first started with 4 pay-per-views per year, every event felt special. Now with a pay-per-view every month, they all feel the same and have almost little to no build or hype going in except for a few matches. 59. By attempting to simultaneously cater to hardcore fans, casual viewers, traditionalists, and deathmatch enthusiasts, AEW has no clear identity and comes across as a wrestling buffet with no signature dish. 60. Claiming 88,000 fans at Wembley when the actual number was around 72,000 makes the company look dishonest and desperate. 61. Buddy Matthews booking. 62nd. Emphasis on dangerous, high-risk wrestling has created an alarming rate of injuries that damage both wrestler careers and the company's ability to tell consistent stories. 63. The company's failure to protect Darby Allin from himself is a ticking time bomb that will eventually lead to catastrophic injury. 64. Fight forever. 65. Tony Khan booking multiple tournaments throughout the year in hopes of masking poor storytelling with match quality. 66. The Dragon Lee and Stephanie Vacare situations perfectly illustrate how AEW gives wrestlers exposure only for WWE to swoop in and sign them to actual contracts. 67. Letting Jade Cargill go. 68. Letting Ricky Starks go. 69. The company permits its talent like MJF to openly hint about jumping to WWE. 70. 71. The partnership with New Japan has been embarrassingly one-sided, with AEW clearly getting the better side of the deal. A PR disaster. 72. Tony Khan has squandered potential breakout stars like Wardlow and Miros. 73rd. Adam Cole's booking. 74. The much-hyped Four Pillars concept has been abandoned with Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, and Darby Allin all relegated to supporting roles while only MJF ascended to World Championship level. 75. Over-reliance on older stars. 76. One match will see a referee counting tag team partners out of the ring, while another allows unlimited outside interference. 77. Allowing wrestlers to go off script with comments that legitimately bury other talent, like Edge calling Ricky Starks a vanilla midget version of The Rock. While Vince McMahon would have turned the CM Punk Jack Perry altercation into wrestling's hottest angle, Tony Khan simply fired his biggest star and pretended nothing happened. 79. The company has completely lost the revolutionary alternative feel that made it exciting in 2019. 80. The company shows zero interest in expanding beyond its existing hardcore fan base. 81st. Poor concussion protocol. Permitting wrestlers like Bryan Danielson to wrestle with 2 fractured orbital bones shows a disregard for talent health and safety. 83rd. Letting Darby Allin perform dangerous stunts outside the company while injured shows that Tony Khan is more concerned with being the cool boss than protecting his stars. 84. Tony Khan is afraid to book top stars to lose. 85. The week-to-week booking with no long-term planning has resulted in a product full of wasted storylines. 86. Chris Jericho. 87. Chris Jericho. 88. Christian Cage having the best run of his life only to lose his world title shot like a clown. 89th. Jay White's booking. 90. The company failed to capitalize on Mariah May's momentum after her feud with Toni Storm, and now with rumors of Mariah wanting to sign with the WWE, Tony Khan has once again showed that he has no idea how to capitalize on the momentum of certain talent. 91. The tag team division has gone from one of the highlights of the company to a skippable part of their events. 92. The trios division feels pointless. 93. The Elite storyline, which should have been AEW's version of The Bloodline, ended up being convoluted mess with inconsistent character work. 94. Okada's booking. 95th. Mercedes Moné's booking. 96. The company has burned through every possible wrestling innovation at such a rapid pace that nothing feels special anymore. 97. Poor communication between talent and management. Poor company culture. 99. Weak marketing. 100. Collision has failed miserably in its mission to be a distinct alternative to Dynamite and feels like just another version of Rampage, destined to fail. 101. Chris Jericho.